viewers, how are you this afternoon? Well, we are in 2023. Hope everyone had a great holiday and are all geared up for the successes of this year. Welcome to another episode of Caribbean Talks. I'm your host for this afternoon, Latoyaa a communications consultant by profession and also an advocate for all things Caribbean. And this afternoon, I am joined by our co-host, Avernel Romeo Williams, who have taken us through many of the episodes before. So today we are going to have a light chat, a light girls talk about women's rights. But before we get into that, let's discuss a little bit about the purpose of the show. So therefore, thank you to all who have joined us over the last episodes. If you missed any of the episodes, do not be afraid to check out our Caribbean Insight social media page. This is a 10-part online show that encourages dialogue and highlights many issues that are of great interest to us in the Caribbean. We continue to talk about music, lifestyle, fashion, food, health, and many other conversations that embrace all things Caribbean. Here at Caribbean Talks, we seek to highlight the interests of our diaspora and the world through our conversations. And specifically this afternoon, we are focusing on women's health, a very sensitive topic, some may say, but many times we do not pay enough attention to it. But before we get into the conversation, Avernel, let's take some time to acknowledge our sponsors that have with us over the last 8 episodes, and we are now into the 9th one. Firstly, I'd like to recognize Caribbean Insight, an online platform that focuses on Caribbean lifestyle by providing information on current affairs, lifestyle, and political developments across the region. You can definitely visit their website at www.mycaribbeaninsight.com. We also have LRT's Media and Business Solutions, empowering businesses and improving lives of people, specifically by providing transformative services to clients in the Global South. And we in the Caribbean, we are part of the Global South. And also Avernel, the last sponsor we have is AD Romeo and Associates Consultancy, fostering sustainable development through innovative services worldwide. So I'm inviting you this afternoon, viewers. If you haven't joined on the live stream yet, please do share it with your friends and networks all over the Caribbean region. Share the live, share the live. Follow us on Caribbean Insight Facebook page, like, share, comment, and get involved. And you know, Avernel, over the last 9 episodes, we really had persons commenting, sharing, and getting involved.
Giving their opinions, sharing their views, very interactive.
So therefore, this afternoon, like no other afternoon, viewers are encouraged to ask your questions and give your comments in the live. And we'll take some time to try to address them throughout the show. Once time permits, we will definitely be able to share persons' comments, persons' concerns as we have today's discussion. So before we start today's discussion, there is a short video that we would like to show that focuses on SRHR issues, and it was done by a company called Better Health. So have a look at the video and we'll be back. Well, Avi, I totally enjoyed that video because for me, it
Yeah.
dispelled some of the myths
Pretty
or,
interesting.
yeah, concepts that we probably grew up hearing when it comes to women and their sexual reproductive health and things that we take for granted. So it was really informative just to have it in a nutshell that, women's sexual health issues are important. There has been this buzzing term, SRHR, that came about
Mm-hmm.
maybe last 10, 15 years or so. They have really coined it into a category called SRHR. So for me, Avi, when you hear the term SRHR, what do you think that acronym stands for? And what does it mean to you as a woman?
I think many people don't realize that, women's health, women's sexual health is so far and wide. We mostly think one thing along the lines of fertility, especially for me, but it's so much more than that. So, so that is what I think about when I hear terms such as SRHR, you know.
I think the same thing too. Definitely your sexual reproductive
Mm-hmm.
health rights. Sometimes we don't understand that it's a right. I guess when you think about right, you think about right to food, right to clothing, and yes, we know there's right to health, but we probably
Mm-hmm.
just assume right to health means that you're alive. But there are specific care and preventative measures that females need as opposed to a male or a child.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really important that those rights and those facilities be available to people. And
So
especially in the current, so
yes,
go ahead.
no, go ahead. I was just, you said available, so is it that we must have local, like we have local community centers that, they should be available to every woman for every aspect of women's health, from the time they are teenagers or even younger to um they are like 60 maybe or so for the entire fertility years, as well as when women menopause, because we are talking about women. So I think Trinidad and Tobago has done a really good job about the availability, so much so that people would bypass government programs and seek more private programs to access whatever needs that they may be looking for at any point in time. What do you think? Do you think Trinidad and Tobago has done a very good job?
I think generally, yes, there have been a conscious effort over the last few years to really focus on women's health and women's clinic. And that is
Yes,
really
yes.
important, not just having general practice hospitals, but
Mm-hmm.
really having women clinics to deal with
Mm-hmm.
those specific women health issues. That
Mm-hmm.
becomes really important. And I know here in Tobago, for example, we have a pink room that will deal with women issues and in a blue room for
Yes.
men issues.
Yes, yes, yes. And
And
even
I think that
pop-up
was a conscious
clinics.
effort.
I think
Mhm.
we have a lot of pop-up clinics. I remember late last year there was one in the western side of the island in Cape and Bonaccord, and you could have done like 4 items: a pap smear, a cholesterol, hypertension, sugar, diabetes test, all in a woman's package for $200, dollars, which was, I mean, at the time I thought was really amazing. All in one, a one-stop shop kind of thing and they call it the woman's package, the pink package. So those pop-up clinics are as important as, the hospitals that we always know about.
I agree. I agree. And my concern is, though, do you think that women in the Caribbean do pay enough attention to their
Mm.
health issues? Do you think women are speaking up and demanding more of these specialized clinics to suit their needs?
I think that maybe it's a Caribbean woman thing or a woman thing on a whole, but we tend to take more we tend to put force other people, or encourage other people to go and see about their health needs, whether it's husband, their brothers, their kids, etc., their friends, etc. But when it comes to their person and themselves, we tend to be a little bit more lackadaisical and laissez-faire about our own health issues, you know. It's only when things are really bad or somebody literally, you know, throw you on the back and take you to, you know, they're having a mammogram clinic, they're having a cervical cancer clinic, you know, that we go to these things, you know. So I really think that we pay more attention to other people's issues than we do to our own. But I think it's just our caring, and you know, we tend to be a bit more mothering and nurturing elements in us, I think causes that.
Okay. I see the same way. Women, maybe we're so busy, and I guess we know how to take care of everybody else, and less attention is paid to some specialized details that we need to do. But I must admit, there has been an increase over the years of women being a bit more conscious, doing your routine checkups as needed to make sure that your whole sexual reproductive health system is really functioning the way it should, and that you are really taking care of your health. So I think generally now, the modern Caribbean woman is really making an effort to go to these specialized clinics, as opposed to a few years back where it was a bit taboo sometimes.
You don't want to talk about it.
To find out about these specialized attention or services you need. But maybe it comes down to education. So that's my other question.
I do think that, you know, in the 90s, you know, the early 200s, there was an explosion of information. Now information is at our fingertips. You know, technology has advanced so much that we have so much information. Now is about discerning which one is correct and which one is incorrect. You know, so that is why it's good to have a healthy dose of, you know, going to your general practitioners and eventually like a gynecologist or whatever other specific doctor you need to see on a certain issue, and knowing and, you know, Googling certain terms for a basic understanding of what it is that may be bothering you, or you maybe want to have a quick question answered. I think it's important to have a healthy balance, you know, so they can both check each other. And it helps you to create questions in your mind so that when you do go for a personal consultation, you know what to ask to get to the crux of the problem you are trying to solve. You know, it's really surprising, you know, nowadays.
So then, do you think?
Yes.
I hope I'm.
Yes. Are you hearing me? Did I get cut off? I think it's
Avernel, I can hear you, I hope.
Yes, I can hear you also.
Right, go ahead. You can just repeat what you said. It's really surprising.
It's really surprising that or shocking maybe that, you know, in this day and age, the age for testing is getting younger and younger, because in the past they would say, you know, women over 40, you know, go get a mammogram, go get you know, your other lady issues. But now they're saying that you should consider going at 35. So am I to expect in the next 10 years, and would this drop down to like 34, 33, you know, 30, you know? I mean, it's really surprising. And even sometimes when I go through social media, you know, Facebook, or even read the news, they are talking about women younger and younger being diagnosed with other forms of cancer. Not only, you know, I mean, as well as women, you know, sexual organs cancer there, but you know, other types of cancer. So it's really an eye-opener that we really need to pay more attention to our health, you know, and women's health specifically.
And I agree with that the information is available. So then it brings me to my next question, though.
Yeah.
Do you think as young women, as females, as girls, are we educated enough about specifically our sexual education?
Well, for me, I don't know if it's that we are not educated enough or educated enough, but I believe that for me, it's about, if you want to find the information, you can find the information. I don't think that we should sit and wait for, let's say you're a high school student, maybe for the nurses to come in, or, you know, to tell you what it is you need to know. I think we must also take the initiative and to find out information about ourselves, about our bodies, you know, I mean, about, you know, the period and how to count your cycle, so you have an idea of when, you know, even from something as simple as that. You know, I really do think that sexual education is not only for someone to come down and to show you or teach you. You should go out and find it, and the people around you could be a guide, you know, maybe to fill in the blanks if you are confused about something or anything. That's what I believe. The information, yeah.
You raise a great point. You raise a great point about natural curiosity.
Yeah.
Because if it's your body, you should be concerned and aware of how it operates. Because if it's your body, then the things that are happening to you as a young person, the changes that you start to feel, you will also be eager to research and understand what differentiates you from a boy. Why are you experiencing this? What a period might mean to you, and how do you now adapt and make your life livable with the changes that you will go through as a woman. So I agree. Self-knowledge is good. Sexual education is good as a guide, but I also think as human beings, as women, we need to be educated about the things that matter to us. We need to dig a little deeper and aware of the issues and take pride and consciousness in what it means to be a woman. It's your body.
Yeah, absolutely.
And changes.
Yeah, so absolutely. And you know, and I also think that women issues, like in the past, we were so saturated on the other and not the woman, that now we are trying to be specific to women. But I also do think that women issues should also be learned or, you know, sought after by, you know, our male counterparts as well. And I say this because we cannot or we should not do it alone. If you know, for example, your yearly mammogram, if it's a year, or your yearly pap smears, you know, let me say, you know, every October you must do it. If by chance, you know, you're so busy and you forget to make the appointment, then, you know, they could step in and say, you know, honey, if it's your husband, you know, it's October, and you know, have you made the appointment as yet? Are you able to go? Do you need me to watch the kids, or do you need me to drop you there, you know, so you can go to that appointment, you know? So I really do think that the involvement of the male counterparts, whether it's your husband or your brother, or, you know, your neighbor, you know, a friend, you know, I really do think that they should also be just as invested as the woman.
You raise an excellent point, that family support, even though we are emphasizing and promoting women health and women education, at the end of the day, if you're in a family unit and if you care about somebody as a human being, you would make a conscious effort to know what is going on and support where you can. Because we're from the Caribbean, you probably grew up a lot with your natural remedies. So my question is, do you believe that there's a balance between the natural remedies and the pharmaceuticals when dealing with your women health issues? Or I do believe natural girl?
I do believe in being progressive, and I do believe that, you know, the discoveries and the inventions of man and the advances technologically, you know, in the medical sciences, etc., are very important, and they should not be ignored. They should be, you know, I encourage more study, I encourage more understanding, but at the same time, I do believe that the medicines of old would always have a place in the medications of new. I think it is a personal choice as well as whatever it is your body is able to handle. You know, sometimes preventative cure for a certain issue may be better in times of old, or it may be better in, you know, new discoveries. So I really do think that personally we need to, you know ourselves, know our bodies, know what works, know what does not work, and listen to whatever it is our bodies are trying to say. But I do not believe that one has like one is better than the other. I would not use the word better. I do believe that they both have a place. I 100% believe that.
I agree with that position also. Definitely for me, it's finding a balance. I am a
Yeah.
very modern woman and I'm all up for modern day medication, but there are times when I have to call my mother and get that old recipe that she used to be using from way back. And
Yeah,
they always say, no, the women from long ago, they birthed so many children and they're
absolutely.
strong and
And
they
they
went a lot
survived,
of, yes, right?
you know. So you wonder how did we survive without modern advances, you know? So that is why there must be some merit to, you know, the practices of old must be, they must have some merits, you know?
And I think it's definitely about you yourself knowing your natural environment. I know we in the Caribbean have a lot of herbs and bush just growing around the backyard. And the truth be told is a lot of the base for even a lot of these modern medicines at the end of the day still came from those. So it's about
Mm-hmm.
how you want to extract the form and use the form towards remedying your health issue. But definitely, if you could drink your tea, your local tea, have natural remedies as part of your normal diet, by all
Mm-hmm.
means, we should promote it. And oftentimes, I always say too, we can't wait until we're sick to go and drink the bush tea. It actually has to be a part of your normal routine. If you keep drinking the bush tea as part of your normal routine, then it's going to be naturally in you, and then it will be overall better for your health. And opposed to
Yeah.
when you now get ill and then you're now trying to have remedial remedies to really fight a problem.
And
And
I
I
think
often know the
on the
natural remedies take a little longer than the modern medicine. So
well,
you need to
some
be
of them, I
consistent
guess,
with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I remember during the pandemic there, a lot of the traditional medicines came out. You saw people talking about the fever grass and you know, drinking the different spices, you know,
You
to
steam with
clear
your
the, yeah,
spices.
which was, you know, I mean, we always knew it, but I don't think most of us would have truly enforced it the way that we all did it in some way during the pandemic. Now, what does that say? You know, so there must be merit in practices of all. You know,
Definitely.
everybody planned have a fever grass in their backyard. I think probably till this day, you know, people were just giving it, passing it on to relative, to friends, you know, for them to plant. And every night, you know, they're having a cup. Some people would mix it with cocoa, with the mint bush, the fever grass. You know, they make their own different concoctions. So
And
yeah,
it works.
that was interesting.
So
Well, for
definitely
me,
find a balance between the
yeah.
natural remedies and the
Just
pharmaceuticals.
just do what works for you, you know, what makes you feel good, you know.
After all, it's your body. So whatever
Yes.
makes your body feel good,
Listen to your
definitely aim for
body.
that. So I have a sensitive question that I want to ask about. And the idea of talking about, sexual reproductive health for women, one of the questions that come up sometimes, people think of it as taboo, or they don't want to put any thought to it. They don't even want to
Mhm.
have it in a conversation. But what are your general thoughts or positions on abortion? Are there grounds for it to be done? Do you think it's something that needs to be discussed at any level? After all, it's my body.
I've heard so many different arguments for, against, you know, yes, no, you know, maybe special cases. But for me personally, when I hear abortion, you know, most people think that it's simply about the like, as we say, throwing away babies, colloquially, you know. But I do think that word is so much more. You know, I was reading CNN news at one point in time, and there was a young lady who, unfortunately, you know, because she was very, you know, tired, she was very sad about it, that her unborn, her fetus would have died before she, you know, before it could have been born. And in her state in America, she was unable to access, you know, a termination. So I mean, like, I think it's so much more. I mean, everything in life there is a positive and there is a negative, but if we hold on to the negative, then we forget about the positive, right? So reading that news, all I could say is that, you know, these generalized statements that we like to make and we like to enforce, sometimes they could, you know, do more harm for the same people that you are trying to serve. So in the case of that young lady going through what she's going through, I mean, it should be more so a situational basis. We should look at every case, look at it case by case, and then, you know, allow persons to make their own choice. You know, I don't think I should be getting to the choice between a family and their health providers. So I really do think it is more than what the media or some media is trying to sell, throwing away of babies, you know, incompetence, being not, you know, not taking the measures that you are supposed to take, you know. And I remember reading, and they were saying that there's always a percent, like most, like I can't remember the percentage, but some women who ended up, you know, they were on some form of contraceptive. So I mean, I can only speak to my experience, and I do think that it should be, you know, a case by case, you know, allow people to make their own health decisions. It's, yeah.
I do agree with that position also. I know more and more, a lot of countries, their laws are becoming more flexible because that is a part of sexual reproductive rights, making sure that the woman understands what is going through her body and the challenges and the transitions that she's facing, and being able to make that choice on how she's going to bring a life and support a life into this world. And as you said, there are many circumstances that may affect even the whole process of that pregnancy, whether it's medical, whether it's health issues, whether it was a forced situation that happened on the person. So we definitely cannot cast stones, and we cannot be very judgmental. But I think and the thing is, abortion comes with many other issues. There is the aftercare, there's the mental issues.
Yeah, that one issue that everyone just keeps hammering over and over. It's more than that. But when I read, it's more than that. Yeah, that's just one negative part, you know, that, you know, is unfortunate that some people do it. It is, but to use that as an excuse to completely change the story or completely take over the narrative, you know, you may find yourself doing a bit more harm than the good that you can do. Yeah, but that's just my experience, my opinion, you know.
So then that leads the conversation further. What next? How do we as a society encourage more positive dialogue and positive education around such topics that some people still see as taboo in the local space?
I think it's important to continue to have an open dialogue. I think what it is that our generation have more, and even more so to those coming up, is information. And I do believe that information and the accumulation of knowledge is power. And when you truly understand all of the nuances and all of the you know, the novelties on the issue, then you are able to make a decision for yourself. That is what I think would truly would truly make it less taboo information and the free flowing of information, because it is here to stay. Women must menstruate, they must, I mean, they have specific needs to these specific organs that they contain, and it's not going anywhere. And not talking about it, not investigating the situation adequately is not going to help things, you know. So women are gonna continue to get pregnant, these issues and all the different you know, all the different situations it's gonna keep coming up over and over, you know, from in our lifetime and when we are no longer here. So I do think it's important to have an open dialogue, to allow people this space to speak about everything. And then on that platform, then we can try to make a decision, or an informed decision, that will truly benefit us all, because that is what healthcare is there for. That's what it's supposed to do, I believe.
And I do agree with that position, Avernel, because to me, I definitely think there needs to be more research done on women's health. There's so much more to discover about the human body and how we function and operate. I'm not trying to make us be mad scientists to discover everything because we aren't God, right? But I think because it's our body, there needs to be a conscious effort to do more positive research and understand how our body functions, how the system works, and what will give us a healthy lifestyle. I also think we as people definitely need to educate ourselves and be honest with ourselves to understand the nuances between the women
absolutely.
care and the
and
men
and
care.
and that is why I love NGOs. I mean, like the pop-up clinic in Canaan that was done by an NGO. It had nothing to do with the government. I do believe in the power of movements. You know, they are able to enter into spaces that formal governmental institutions are unable to. You know, they are able to operate in spaces that, you know, are more far reaching, in my opinion, than if you are relying on your local providers, you know.
I agree. I do agree. And that's an important
Yeah,
point that you
yeah,
raised.
yes.
And I think one, there needs to be more women-based NGOs that will focus on women issues.
Take on these issues, yes, because sometimes when you read the news headlines, when you're scrolling through it, it feels scary. It can feel scary. You know, we should be thankful here, well, where we are in Trinidad and Tobago, in the Caribbean, because when you look at other countries, the rights that you take for granted and that you have and enjoy freely, not some women are not allowed to enjoy them, you know. So I do believe in the power of movements. I do believe that NGOs are able to operate and be successful on the issues that they take up. Yeah.
Yes, so definitely this is a call, a shout out, a big up to all the NGOs that have been doing a lot of work as it relates to women rights issues, as it relates to sexual reproductive health issues, because we find at times that finding those groups sometimes are a bit hard, but they exist. They exist around.
Yeah,
It's a
they
very niche,
exist.
but they exist, and
Yeah.
they're championing a cause. So congrats and kudos to you that continue to champion that cause and continue to push, continue to educate, continue to support. Because sometimes women just need support. Women just need support. A young girl just needs to talk to somebody about what is the period and why they're feeling the way they do. And you know, you
Is
want
this
these groups and
normal?
networks.
Am I
Yeah.
the only one? You know, communities
What is this
are
tingling
important.
feeling? What am I going through with my hormones?
Yeah,
This
yeah,
constant itching that I'm getting at my teenager years. What is this sex thing about? And
yeah.
you really need sometimes the NGOs, and not only the community-based NGOs, but there's also the role of the church to discuss these things, because sex is a
Well,
normal human function.
wherever, you know, I mean, you can get the help, quote unquote, or the information is wherever you're most comfortable, whether it's in your church, in your school, your counselor, you know, your neighbor, you know. So all these different avenues, all these different, you know, mediums that can be employed to access whatever issue or situation you want to, you know, you need solved. You know, so it's wherever you are most comfortable. I do believe that the information is there, just a little bit of curiosity to find it. And even if you're not finding exactly what you're looking for, you can start something. You can create, you know, a movement to deal with whatever it is that you think needs more focus on. You know, I mean, we live in the digital age, and I mean, we live in anything is possible in this digital age. If you want to start a movement, just get a name. If you want to register it or you want it to build up a few years before I mean, anything is possible. Anything.
Okay, I agree with that. I agree with that. So there's the encouragement out there, everyone. Go and find that information that you're looking for. Avernel, to wrap up, we want to have a light reflection. As a Caribbean person, share your thoughts on these things. So if you're having menstrual cramps, do you prefer good old bush tea or over-the-counter drugs like a Panadol tablet, women's Panadol?
In my experience, I do both. I love that hot water bag your granny normally uses. I
Yes.
mean, that works wonders, you know, for me. And if it's a bit too much, or let me say I have to leave home to work, to, you know, go somewhere, then I may also need to pop a Panadol as well.
For me, I definitely taking the Panadol. I don't have the patience to deal with
Yeah,
what's
like a
up back.
day before, you just use that, and it tends to be a little bit, easier. A friend of mine did say that she thinks it melts, like, I don't know. But she's like, yeah, she needs one as well. She must use, hers. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So earlier in the discussion, we were talking about blue for boys and pink for girls. Do you agree with that stereotype? You grew up with these norms: blue for boys, pink for girls.
I don't subscribe to that. I mean, we are looking at this as simply colors, but some people would look at the color and then other images fall in their mind, form in their minds, so I encourage, the men in my family. There's nothing wrong with a pink shirt. It doesn't make you less manly. If anything, I think it makes you more manly in my eyes to be able to pull off a pink shirt. And yeah, it doesn't, what's the word, make me less of, just because I like, or choose to wear pink, so I think you should be able to like whatever color you want to like. The additives to that is in, in other people's experiences, and in their, yeah, minds. Yeah, so
I think so too. For me, yes, I've grown up with my children with blue for boys, pink for girls, but ideally any color, once it looks good on you, I think it's all good. Because there's a nice sky blue that looks good on ladies. It just depends. And then I like my fuchsia pink. It really depends on your perception.
yeah,
And
I wear both. I don't, yeah.
Lastly, what is your best tip? What is your secret for coping with menstrual issues? What is the one secret that you do? That time of the month comes around, what do you do?
I just make sure that I don't have much heavy lifting to do. Like, if it happens, I don't want to find myself in a situation where having to deal with this as well as whatever, that may be. So I try to keep things light around that, because I personally have a lot of cramping. So I know my capabilities. I know what it is I would like to be doing at that time. And it's nothing too strenuous, nothing too much. So I would choose to do work that will have me, seated, or I'm able to, relax a bit in a more relaxed position. So it depends on what it is you are capable of and how it is you want to operate. Some people, when they're seeing their period, it's like nothing. They don't even notice. I wasn't blessed like that. So is how whatever you want to do at that time,
For me, my tip is I need to sleep. Let me sleep on the first day. I think I get so irritable. I am so tired. I am so sometimes I feel like if I'm losing my mind, just give me that first day to sleep and I could survive the rest. Once I'm sleeping, the pain just goes away and I am pumped and ready for the rest of it. But definitely, I
that's
like
nice.
to lie down.
And lucky you get to sleep. That isn't always, that isn't always my case. So as long as whatever I'm doing is not too much, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, like too much mental thinking. No, just yeah, simple, and then we relax or do something relaxing. Yeah.
Well, viewers, today we had a healthy conversation. What do you say, Abby? Very healthy conversation.
Yes, we did. Everyone's opinion matters.
And it was a pleasure chatting with you. We are slowly coming to the end of our last episode in season 1. I think that's it. Oh, you're celebrating. Okay, good.
Hooray!
And I hope for many of our viewers, you have enjoyed this journey with us through episode 1. But definitely episode 1 could not have been possible without our sponsors. So we have to big up Caribbean Insight for the work that they have been doing to share topical information around the Caribbean. Caribbean Insight focuses on lifestyle, health, culture, sport, food, current affairs, etc. So do check out mycaribbeaninsight.com. We also have LRT's Media and Business Solutions for all your media and consulting and business support needs, especially for this show. And we have ADR Romeo and Associates Consultancy, fostering development throughout initiatives and services worldwide. We have one more episode to go. So do join us next week, Thursday at 5 p.m. as we end episode 1 with a bang. And definitely with a bang. And next week, we are going to have a discussion on what happened in 2022. A viral things happened. So I can't wait to hear the headlines that definitely blew us away. Avernel and I will be discussing our picks and the headlines that blew us away for 2022. So don't forget to check us out next week, Thursday, on Caribbean Inside Facebook page. Until then, very sad times, but until then, we are your host. We are your host, Latoyaa Summers, and
Avernel Romeo Williams.
And we are just signing off for this evening, but we will definitely see you next week.